Notice as required by the Open Public Meetings Act was provided on December 5th, 2025 by posting the notice with the respective clerks of the city of Lambertville, Borough of Stockton, and the township of West Edinburgh, and advertised in the Star Ledger and Trenton Times newspaper. Would you all join me for the salute to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty, justice for all.
Jennifer Batchelor,
Here.
John Bonani,
Here.
Martha Dennis,
Here.
Paul Falsigno,
Here.
Gina Fischetti, Brian Keys,
Here.
Aaron O'Leary, Ronnie Todd Marino,
Here.
Michael Shroud.
Here. If you haven't noticed, we have a very full agenda this evening, so thank you all for coming. We have been putting off the next presentation for 3 months now, and I am very happy to welcome our preschoolers in to do a presentation that was supposed to be in January, and there is not snow. It might be cold outside tonight, but we at least don't have snow.
So I'm very excited to introduce Dawn Rhodes, who's our preschool instructional coach and our intervention and referral specialist. Dawn, come on up.
Woo!
Okay, so we were asked, oh, there's Patrick. We were asked to come talk to the board. So I have a couple of my friends here. We're going to have them introduce themselves with the microphone, right? Okay, so we thought it would be funny. First of all, I want to thank the board for having us. We've grown exponentially over the past couple of years, starting with 2, and now we're at 5 classrooms in 2 locations. And this is just a snippet. I have some of my 3s and my 4s here, and I'm hoping they perform and talk. So out of the mouth of preschoolers. So without further ado, if you want to go to the first one, I'm going to have them introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Zoe. My name is Trey James, and I love my mom and dad.
Mr. Asher, I don't think is here, so we'll come back to Asher. Hold on.
This is my bunny. My name is Patrick.
Thank you, Patrick. And we'll go to the next slide. We have.
My name is Lyra. My name is Henry.
One more.
My name is Brianna.
Okay, so those are our preschoolers. So you know what? Come on over here, guys. We're going to come stand right here in the middle. All right, Miss Rhodes is going to ask you some questions so you can tell our board. They don't know anything about our preschool. Are you ready? We're going to go to the next slide and we're going to see something. So who can tell me what that is? Who wants to tell everybody what that is? Raise your hand.
Centers. We do play planning and we draw our boards and we go to our centers.
So we have to draw our play plan. Does anyone want to tell us what we have to draw during play planning?
We draw ourselves and what we're doing.
And then after we draw ourselves and we say where we're going, what do we have to do with that wheel over there? Who wants to tell me? Patrick, you want to tell me?
Pick our clip. Go to your center.
Oh, then they go to their center. Lyra, you want to tell us anything else about play planning?
Play. You need to put lines on the bottom.
Oh, you need to put lines on the bottom of our play plan. You know what? Maybe go over, Brianna, go over to Miss LeBold and get a play plan. She has one for you. Okay, so we have to draw our lines. So the kids are sounding out their words. They're drawing their pictures. This is not your play plan. This was Asher's play plan, but he didn't show up today. So over here, you want to show them? You want to show them what we do? So what do you have to do?
Actually, write, what we're doing.
Right. So what is the play plan that you could say?
I actually play block.
Very good. All right, let's go to the next slide and let's see what else we can tell them about. You ready? Make believe play. So now I want you guys to think about some of our areas and you could tell them about some of our areas that we play with, okay?
We go to our,
Nice and loud.
we do our, we
What's
do,
your favorite center you go to?
I like the the cafeteria because I like to make some stuff there.
You like to go to the house area? Okay. Patrick, what's your favorite area?
I like to go to science.
Oh, you like the science area. Lyra, what center do you like to go to?
Orange.
What's the orange center?
The vet.
Well, we're going to explain that, right? That's the orange center is their house area, but we turn it into a vet. We're going to tell them that in 1 second. What is your favorite?
Brown.
What do you do in the brown center? You build with what?
We build with blocks.
All right, James, what's your favorite?
Brown, and I get to build and put the dinosaurs in there.
Okay. And Brianna, what's your favorite?
Kitchen.
So if we can go to the next slide. So all of our centers, we turn into different themes. So who can tell me, everyone tell me all at one time, what theme are we in right now? What is it? Pets and vets. We're in pets and vets. We've had a restaurant. We've had, what else have we had? Teachers, help me out. Grocery. Medical. We just finished medical. So now we're on pet vet. So as you can see, this is Patrick's classroom. They're doing a lot of stuff with pet vet. No, that is at the other building. That's Liam. Yes. All right. If we can go. All right. So I also want to say that some of our moms and dads come into our classrooms, right? So part of our preschool is we're trying to really make that homeschool connection and have our parents very involved. So we do things like our mystery reader. Whose mom's come for a mystery reader so far? I think Lyra, your mom has come. I think Patrick, not yet, but no, Patrick, your parents came for our Thanksgiving thing, right? No, but mommy came for gingerbread, right? Your mommy came to read? And Brianna's mom came dressed as an elf, I just want to say, if you saw in the other picture.
She came for gingerbread and reading book.
Yes, so she came for a couple different things. Do you want to say?
We do the flag and we say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Do that in the morning, yes. Yes. Okay, so we do have a couple different events. And like I said, we are trying to involve our parents because we figured if they're in our preschool classrooms, they'll stay in our kindergarten or first grade. And I think we have one more slide of our parents. Just so you know, we've had an overwhelming, we do have parents, partners in learning. So we've had one of our dads is a dentist came in. We've had a mom who was a therapist that came in and talked to us about our big feelings. We've had a nurse that came in. Go to the next one. And as you could see, these are our parent events that we have during the day, and they are packed. So we have all of our, this is, I believe this was Gingerbread House. Oh, Zoe wants to tell you.
You take care of animals, and if they're lost, if there's stray animals, you help them.
Yes, that's one of our areas that we're working on now. And we'll do is one more pictures of your classrooms or two more. So we've had like about 98% participation with our parents. And we have one more picture of our parents. Okay, so we're going to have one final comment, and then these gentlemen and ladies and gentlemen are going to get on with their day. But we just wanted to give you a little snippet as to what preschool does every day and how lovely and talking we are every day, right? All right, so we have some other ideas. All right, you have to think of one more idea. You can say one more idea and then you can go back to mom, okay? You ready?
Um, we take care of if they're if people are sick, we take care of them.
Yes, in our medical center. We did that. Very good. Zoe, everyone's going to clap for you, Zoe. All right, Patrick.
We sit on the rug because the teachers tell us to.
Thank you, Patrick.
We take care of.
Yep. Go ahead, Sarah. Go back. Think about it for a minute. Okay. James, you have any final?
We play nice.
We do play nice. Yes.
We wash our pets.
You wash our pets. Yes, we have our pets. Anything else you want to say, Henry?
Wash our hands
We do wash our hands. Why do we wash our hands?
so we don't get germs.
And then if you get sick, right? Thank you very much.
That was just awesome. Thank you. And I hope you all enjoyed your snow days, not coming for the last 2 months, but we really appreciate you coming in here now. The next thing on our agenda tonight is a resolution and awarding to our high honor roll. So this is something new that we started this year. I'm going to read the resolution very quickly. I'm going to say the word whereas a lot. Basically, this means that we are proud of you and good. So, whereas the Board of Education recognizes the importance of academic excellence and is committed to celebrating outstanding student achievement, and whereas students in grades 9 through 12 who attain high honor roll status demonstrate exceptional dedication, perseverance, and commitment to their academic studies, and whereas high honor roll distinction is awarded to students who achieve an overall average of 94 or higher, with no individual course grade lower than 90 during the first marking period. And whereas such academic achievement reflects credit upon the students, their families, the instructional staff, and school community as a whole. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education of the South Hunterdon Regional School District hereby recognizes and commends a lot of students, which we are going to hand that over to Mr. Wright in just a moment. But before we do so, can I get a motion to accept this resolution?
So moved.
Lots of people. Let's go with Brian and Martha. Okay. We'll do a voice vote for this. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Mr. Wright is going to.
Yes, he is. Mr. Wright, principal of high school.
All right, good evening, everyone. It is my privilege to present these students with a certificate for achieving high honor roll. We'll start with the freshman, Danielle Brewer. Colton Davis. Isaac Dewar. Stephanie Marquez Nolasco. Ava Sirac. Leah Batchelor. Haley Brown. Amelia Carlucci. Julia Dorman. Liliana Ferreira. Brandon Garcia. Emily Hodges. Brooke Patchouli. Nathan Pigeon. Rosabel Sandoval Hernandez. Matthew Snyder. Adriana Soto. Abigail Titus Greed. Charlotte Titus Greed. Maggie Woodside. Now the juniors. Phineas Baker. Tucker Hicks. Juniby Horsnall. Erin O'Rourke. Daisy Perrins. Sydney Powell. Elsie Sheets. The seniors. Annika Baylog. Tess Kathy Jordan. Rosemary Cooper. Ian Harbison. McKenna Healy. Grace Horvath. Landon Katz. Connor Keys. Alexander Kukowski. Trevor Lingerfield. Deegan Manfredi. Yeslin Racinos. Lucy Spring. Congratulations. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it.
And again, congratulations to you all. Keep up all the good work. Thank you for working hard. And now into another celebration moment. We've got a lot going on. So we are going to recognize our Governor's Educators of the Year. We have yet another resolution. Do you want to do that? Okay. Can't say whereas enough. Whereas the South Hunterdon Regional School District Board of Education recognizes the invaluable contributions of its educators and service professionals to the education and well-being of our students. And whereas the South Hunterdon Regional School District Board of Education is committed to celebrating and honoring the outstanding achievements of our educators and service professionals. And whereas the South Hunterdon Regional School District Board of Education is recognizing 3 Educators of the Year and 3 Educational Service Professionals of the Year for their exceptional dedication, leadership, and impact on student learning. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the South Hunterdon Regional School District Board of Education hereby formally recognizes and honors the following Educators of the Year: Lee Weaver, Dawn Rhodes, Caitlin Wesner, Shannon Hill, Kyle Hart, and Ashley Williams. Be it further resolved that the South Hunterdon Regional School District Board of Education extend its sincere gratitude and appreciation to all of the Educators of the Year and Educational Service Professionals of the Year for their tireless efforts and commitment to our students and community. Be it further resolved that the South Hunterdon Regional School District Board of Education will publicly recognize and celebrate the Educators of the Year and Educational Service Professionals of the Year honorees at our March 23rd, 2026 board meeting. That is today. Ladies and gentlemen, can I get a motion to accept this resolution?
So moved.
Okay, Jen and John. Voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Of all the moments we share throughout the school year, this one holds a special place. The Governor's Educator of the Year program exists to shine a light on the teachers and educational service professionals across New Jersey whose dedication to students goes above and beyond. And tonight, we get to celebrate our very own. Our honorees were nominated by the people who know them the best, their peers, the parents who trust them with their children, and the students whose lives they shape each and every day. For each of our 3 schools, a committee of administrators, staff, and a parent representative evaluated nominees on 4 core qualities: exceptional instructional techniques, the ability to inspire students of every background and ability, the respect and admiration of those around them, and a sustained commitment to improving student achievement and the learning environment. I will now invite our building principals to introduce each one of our honorees. Following the introductions, I ask that our educators and educational service professionals of the year have the opportunity to walk on the inside and to shake hands with each one of our board members, and then you will be receiving a certificate along with a token of appreciation on behalf of a grateful school district. We will start out first with South Hunterdon Regional Elementary School Principal Wanda Quinones.
Thank you and good evening. It is my absolute pleasure to begin with Miss Rhodes. We just saw Miss Rhodes in action, and that is Miss Rhodes every single day. I cannot express how proud I am. She is dedicated, she is experienced, and she demonstrates that daily. Miss Rhodes plays a vital role in bridging South Elementary and On Location, which is absolutely essential for a pre-K program that has grown. Her commitment to her students is truly remarkable, and it is absolutely no surprise she is receiving this award this evening. Ms. Rhodes, your passion and dedication resonate deeply with both colleagues, students, and I'm going to add in their families as well. At South Elementary, we value teamwork, and you are an integral part of our team. Your contributions make a lasting impact, and we are incredibly fortunate to have you. In just 4 years, you have given so much to the students of South Hunterdon, and I know you will continue to inspire for many years to come. Thank you, Ms. Rhodes, for all that you do. You are truly an asset in the field of education. Come on up. All right, and now I will continue with our Teacher of the Year, South Elementary, Miss Weaver. We are fortunate to have Miss Weaver, who truly loves and lives kindergarten every day. She works every day to support her students in so many different ways. She ensures we have a creative classroom where students feel valued and inspired. Kindergarten is often where a child's love of school begins, and this is a responsibility she embraces fully. Ms. Weaver approaches her role with positivity, dedication, and a can-do attitude. Her classroom is warm, safe, and a joyful space where creativity, curiosity thrive, fostering a lifelong love of learning. I am confident that Ms. Weaver will continue to make an incredible impact on so many more kindergarten students that will come her way. I'm sure there are hundreds headed her way. Congratulations to Ms. Weaver. Thank you. Oh, thank you.
Next, from the middle school, Principal Jen McKnight.
Good evening. For South Hunterdon Middle School, Mrs. Caitlin Wesner has been named South Hunterdon Middle School's Educator of the Year in recognition of her exceptional dedication to students and her unwavering commitment to high-quality special education practices. Ms. Wesner consistently creates a structured, supportive, and inclusive learning environment where all students are empowered to grow academically and personally. Her ability to differentiate instruction, build strong relationships, and collaborate effectively with colleagues and families ensures that each student receives the individualized support they need to succeed. In addition to her work in the classroom, Ms. Wesner serves as South Hunterdon Middle School girls soccer coach, where she fosters teamwork, perseverance, and school pride amongst her student athletes. Beyond the classroom, she is a positive force within our school community, demonstrating professionalism, compassion, and steadfast belief in every student's potential. We are proud to honor Ms. Wesner for her outstanding contributions and meaningful impact she makes each day. Mrs. Shannon Hill, Child Study Team member and school psychologist at South Hunterdon Middle School, has been named the Governor's Educational Service Professional of the Year in recognition of her outstanding service, leadership, and commitment to students. Mrs. Hill is a trusted collaborator who works closely with teachers, administrators, and families to ensure that every student receives the individualized support they need. Her ability to build meaningful relationship with students allows her to not only address challenges, but also empower students to grow in confidence and resiliency. She is a strong advocate for inclusive practices and is instrumental in creating systems and supports that promote a positive and equitable school environment. Her thoughtful, student-centered approach and dedication to continuous improvement have made an impact on the South Hunterdon Middle School community. We are proud to recognize and celebrate Mrs. Hill for this well-deserved honor.
And finally, the principal of the high school, Mr. Adam Wright.
It is my profound honor to present, and we'll start with Mr. Hart. And Mr. Kyle Hart has been a dedicated member of the South Hunterdon community, having spent his life connected to our schools and our programs. As a high school PE teacher, he brings an energy, creativity, and a strong commitment to helping students develop healthy habits, teamwork, and confidence. Beyond the classroom, Mr. Hart serves as a trusted advisor and an influential coach, building meaningful relationships with students and supporting them in reaching their full potential. Mr. Hart is the driving force behind Night at the Nest, the school-wide spirit program which brings together students with various interests and backgrounds. He consistently models leadership, sportsmanship, and perseverance, leaving a lasting impact on those he works with. For all of this and so much more, congratulations on the well-deserved honor of Governor's Educator of the Year, Mr. Kyle Hart. For our educational service professional, it is my privilege to acknowledge Mrs. Ashley Williams. As a mental health counselor, Mrs. Williams has made a meaningful impact on supporting students and strengthening their overall wellness. She recognizes that each student is unique with their own interests, strengths, and challenges, and works thoughtfully to help them build the skills needed to support their emotional and mental well-being. Ms. Williams has worked with students across multiple grade levels, providing guidance tailored to a wide range of needs. She fosters an environment that is warm, supportive, and grounded in high expectations, empowering students to grow with confidence. Congratulations, Mrs. Williams, on this well-deserved recognition as the Governor's Educational Services Professional of the Year.
Okay, congratulations to all of our winners, and also just a thank you to everyone for coming, and thank you to all of our educational professionals for all you do every day in these halls. We are going to take a 5-minute break so that we can take some pictures, and then we will come back and get the fun part of the meeting going.
If we could have all of our Educators of the Year honorees in the hallway, just so we can get a group shot before you leave. Some of them left. If the, yeah. Yeah. No problem. We'll get one.
Well.
So we're going to start with our report from the representative and Captain of the Ready.
No doubt,
Chief
of
on
course.
United Nets.
Good evening, everybody. So, past few weeks at South Hunterdon, as always, been filled with a lot of success academically, socially, and athletically. Academically, today marked the final day of NJGPA testing for the juniors at South. So everyone else, me being a senior, got to sleep in a little bit, which was nice. Furthermore, just last week, we hosted our annual college fair, which is a great opportunity specifically for juniors and also sophomore to get some more knowledge on colleges, future opportunities, ROTC, anything like that. Our largest fundraiser, Night at the Nest, was a great success, brought together a lot of the community, and of course, resulted in a win for the blue team. We got a chance to watch the high school play Into the Woods, which was super entertaining. It was a cool experience, and we got to see a lot of different talent at South. Coming up, we've got another great fundraiser, which is our blood drive. The Key Club has been helping out with that, and they're also going to be assisting with snacks, everything. If you're donating tomorrow, they're going to be down there, kind of walking through the process. Peer Leaders as well has been active. We're doing a values-based presentation in the middle school coming later this week, where we're going to do like a couple different activities in the middle school gym, kind of teach them about like honesty, integrity, different things like that. We also did the kindness cereal box domino one I think I talked about, which was kind of a similar thing. This one's a little bit more like in depth. We recently had an interesting and engaging presentation, which was the second year we did this, on the dangers of drunk driving. It's kind of like a game show-esque type of thing. It was cool. Beginning of the month, spring just started, so obviously softball, baseball, golf is all starting up, which is cool. And students are just gearing up for spring break as we get closer and closer to the home stretch final marking period. That's all I got.
Thank you. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
You do not need to stick around if you don't need to.
All right.
Well,
Well,
homework on both.
thank you, everybody.
Yeah. And then, the PTO, do we have?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lee Russo. I'm the treasurer of the PTO. This past month has been very busy and successful for the PTO. We wrapped up our Gertrude Hawk fundraiser, Coin Wars, and our middle school book fair. All were great successes, and we are incredibly grateful to everyone who helped make them possible. Special thank you to Corey Meskel for organizing the Gertrude Hawk fundraiser, and to Marcella Rosso, along with all of our coin counters who assisted with Coin Wars. Our K-4 students especially enjoy participating in that fundraiser. And we continue working on ways to increase engagement at the middle school level. Thank you as well to Mrs. DeSalvi for helping with the middle school book fair. It was a great starting point for what we hope will continue to grow into a strong and well-supported event. Building PTO involvement at the middle school level remains a priority, as that support helps fund important events such as field day, 8th grade promotion, and other activities throughout the year. We also held our first pretzel sale last Friday at the middle school, which was very well received. Upcoming pretzel sale dates are April 10th, May 1st, and May 29th. They're at the end of the day. The pretzels are $1. And we're going to increase our order to meet the demand for next time. Yearbooks for South Elementary are currently on sale through April 30th, so get your yearbooks. Ordering information can be found via email that went out through our platform, MTK, and our Facebook page or on Parent Square. Our April Kids Night Out has been rescheduled to Friday, April 24th due to a scheduling conflict with baseball opening night. Enrichment clubs at South Elementary are underway and going very well, with 48 students participating on Wednesdays and about 45 on Thursdays. We will begin planning for the fall soon. After our April PTO meeting, we will send out a survey to pre-K through 4 families to gather feedback on programming, offerings, and pricing. So please look out for that and participate if you're able. We will also be reaching out to teachers for interest shortly after that. our goal is to have all clubs planned and scheduled by June so that we can start the year off with a clear plan in place. Looking ahead, South Elementary Field Day is scheduled for Thursday, May 28th with a rain date of May 29th. Volunteer signups will be shared via Parent Square following our April meeting. Our Touch a Truck event for pre-K through 4 students will take place on Friday, June 5th with a rain date of Monday, June 8th. We have an exciting lineup of vehicles planned, and we thank the American Legion for generously allowing us to use their parking lot. The 8th grade trip to Doherty Park is scheduled for June 11th, and the PTO will be providing breakfast for students before departure. Trivia night at Nomad Pizza in Lambertville is Wednesday, April 15th from 6 to 8 p.m. It comes with a suggested donation of $10 per team to support the 4th grade fund. It's a family-friendly event. The pizzas that night will be 20% off. With the mention of South Hunterdon PTO, and that I believe is dine-in and takeout too. So if you can't stay for trivia night, but you want to get pizza, you get 20% off. We have also begun planning for Teacher Appreciation Week, and we'll follow a similar format as in previous years. If you are interested in helping, please look out for a Sign Up Genius and Zoom meeting link with more information. As always, we encourage everyone to support our ongoing fundraisers by saving your McCaffrey's receipts, purchasing from Mabel's Labels if you need labels for anything, and scanning receipts for box tops for education. And finally, we welcome any ideas from our middle school families on how to increase engagement and involvement. Please feel free to reach out to us via email. We would really love to hear from you. And thank you very much.
Thanks, Ruth. Okay, we don't have any correspondence this evening. We do have to take some action to approve some minutes. So can I get a motion to approve A through C?
So moved.
Second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Great. Move on to our superintendent update. Mr. Hugo.
So I actually have 2 updates tonight. The first one that I'll do is as we move to close out the referendum from 2021, I did want to share some final figures and information on kind of where we landed. So just as a little bit of a refresh, we originally were set to sell bonds for the 2021 referendum in January. And obviously interest rates at that time in January of 2022 were below 3%. We did have some litigation that we had to deal with, so we didn't sell the bonds until August 17, 2022. And we wound up coming in at 3.82%. We didn't go out to bid on both projects until March 2023, which was about 14 months after the referendum passed. So without litigation, more than likely, we probably would have went out about a year earlier. And during that time, we all know the construction costs significantly increased. So at the time of the referendum vote in November of 2021, construction costs were around $350 a square foot. By the time we went out to bid, they were closer to $500 a square foot. So just a reminder, the total amount the taxpayers approved was $33,412,000. We did receive $6,763,993 from the New Jersey Department of Education for this project, based on different, renovations and things that we were doing. So the entire $33,412 didn't fall on the taxpayer, minus that 6, so almost $7 million. Just a reminder of how the process played out. So for the elementary school, Scazzeri Construction was our lowest bid at $8,261,243. There were a lot of items related to the referendum that were not in the bid spec for Scazzeri, and I've listed these out here, and I'll explain why that was the case in a second. For the middle school, Bach Construction came in at the lowest bid, $19,296,000. And then obviously we had a lot of things that were not included in the bid spec as well for the middle school project. So when we kind of put all that together, basically when you add up the elementary school bid and the middle school bid, we had 5,854,757, so close to $6 million to use for all the other things that I listed out that were not part of the bid spec. So the question comes up, why wouldn't you include that in the bid spec? Well, New Jersey public bid laws allow for substitutions by contractors. So we wanted to make sure that we avoided that and that we had what we wanted for key parts for each building. So for example, we at the high school did an upgrade several years ago on our security system, and we use a product called Bricata as our software program. We wanted to make sure that we got that same program and the same cameras that we have in the high school, in the middle school, and the elementary school. If we included that in the bid spec, there is the potential that the contractor can come back and say, I'm giving you a similar product. It's just a different product. And we didn't want that, obviously, so we have a consistent software program across the district. So that's just one example. Also, when you go out for co-ops, which we did on many of these things, and that's when basically school districts join together to generate purchasing power. Typically, you'll get better pricing than we would have if we included in the bid spec for the contract. So that was the reason why we made that decision. I just want to clarify that the rental of St. John's School was never part of the referendum budget. The total rental fee was $470,000. If you look back, the lease was approved by the Board of Ed on June 26, 2023, and the referendum vote was in November of 2021. So we had no idea at that point what the price was going to be, and obviously it was not included in any of the referendum planning. We planned all along to include it in our operating budget, and that's what we did. So we paid for that out of our 2023-24 operating budget. I do want to note that we also came in at a 2% tax levy on that year. Talk a little bit about the LPS roof, right? The former LPS. So that was not part of the referendum. So just a little bit of history. The roof on the LPS school was actually installed during regionalization in 2014, and it included a 20-year warranty until 2034. So as we planned out the referendum, it's not something that was really on our radar because of the warranty that went along with it. At the time when the referendum was planning, the roof was in good shape. It wasn't included in the referendum for that reason. And then about 2 years later, in the spring of 2023, we started to get roof leaks around the main office, and upon inspection, we noticed small bubbles that started to form on different sections of the roof. Some of the bubbles were leaking and others were not. The warranty company came out and fixed the ones that were leaking, but would not touch any of the ones that were not. The bubbles continued to get worse. When the roof was installed back in 2014, it was actually done by 3 different contractors. The first 2 were actually kicked off the job for substandard workmanship that did not meet established standards and code. And the contractor who finally completed the job is actually no longer in business. So in order to try and get the roof replaced, we would have to take the warranty company to court since the contractor was no longer in business. At the same time when this was happening, the New Jersey Department of Education put a broadcast out that they were going to offer something called ROD grants, which are regular operating district grants, for the first time in about 10 years. That's not something that we had the opportunity to get. A ROD grant is basically a state-funded initiative providing financial assistance to school districts for critical school-related construction, renovation, and health and safety. And the advantage of the ROD grant is that if you qualify, you get 40% of your project paid by the state. So we decided to apply for a ROD grant for the roof just to see what would happen. At the same time, the HVAC unit over the gym was starting to act up. After several repairs, we decided to put in a ROD grant for that as well. And then a few months later, we were notified by the NJDOE that we were awarded ROD grants for both projects. So in other words, each project, we would get 40% of funding from the state. So we had a decision to make. We brought this back to our finance committee and we made a decision. We really had 2 decisions. One decision was let it ride, hope for the best with the warranty and fight it out with the warranty company and hope the roof didn't get any worse. Or do we accept these ROD grants and look to basically replace the roof on a building that we were going to do a significant renovation on? So the finance committee decided that we should renovate the roof and put a new roof on. So we accepted the grant and also the grant for the HVAC upgrade over the gym. We went out to bid on the entire roof, which also included the 5,500 square foot addition that Scazzeri was responsible for putting on, because we didn't want 2 different contractors on the roof, right? We didn't want the 5,500 square foot to be one contractor and then the rest of the roof to be another, because then there's issues. So with the ROD grant, basically the 40%, the total cost for the roof replacement was $777,000 for the district because of the 40%. Then we went back to Scazzeri and said, we no longer need you to do the roof on the 5,500 square feet, so you need to give us credit for that. So they did in the amount of $186,000. So all in, we paid $591 for a roof that was originally bid at 1.295, and we used capital reserve for that project. And now we have a 30-year roof with the same warranty over the entire building. As far as the HVAC, we used a co-op. So again, we used, as I described before, our purchasing power. So we had a quote from Murray Contracting that came in at $494,651.25 for that HVAC unit. With the ROD grant, we paid $296,790.75 using our capital reserve account. By using Murray Contracting, we were also able to use the same subcontractor for the project that Scazzeri was using for all the other HVAC work. So the advantage there is that we had the same contractor for all the HVAC work throughout the entire building. In reference to change orders, so just to give you, a little bit of background, if you look at the bottom, a change order is basically if a contractor decides something that comes up that wasn't actually in the plans for whatever reason. So the original bid for Scazzeri was $8,261,243. We wound up all in paying them $8,487,227.88. So we paid a total amount of $225,984.88 in change orders for the elementary project, which quite honestly is not uncommon when you're doing a renovation compared to new construction. The original bid for Bach was $19,296,000. We wound up paying them $20,073,792. Keep in mind that the total amount of change orders that basically came into play as far in reference to delay claims was $645,583. So if you recall back and we turn the clock back, we had issues with DEP. We ran into some delays with the township. And then basically what can happen is a contractor can file a delay claim. And the delay claim is basically a formal request for additional time and money for something that's impacted the project that didn't have any bearing on the contractor, meaning it was outside of their control. They didn't cause the delay. So with that, obviously, we got delay claims from the contractor, from concrete, electricians, all the way through. Now, when you look at the final statistics, for a school construction or a referendum project, boards and auditors generally expect around 2 to 5% total in change orders when a project's complete. Anything approaching 8 to 10% usually prompts questions from the board, the public, or our auditors. So for our project, the elementary school, it was 2.75%. For the middle school, it was 4%, but that included all the delay claims. If you take those out, it was 0.6% in reference to change order. So I think we landed in a pretty good place. So when we talk about final costs, the overall final cost, including the $645,583 in delay claims, was $36,157,744.39. The total amount approved by our voters was $33,412,000. We also earned an interest, $2.262,118 from the New Jersey ARM account. So just as a reminder, when we got the $33,412,000, we invested the money in an NJ ARM account, which is basically geared towards municipalities and school districts. And we weren't going to be paying contractors for a while when we first got the money until construction started, and then throughout the project as we did pay apps. So we invested the money so we can get interest on it. And we made that amount of interest, which was very important based on the cost per square foot going from $350 to $500 from the time that we actually approved the referendum to the time that we actually went out to bid. And all in, using that interest from the NJ ARM, that left us with a negative balance of $483,626.14, and we used funds from our capital reserve account to close that gap, which we did as far as board agendas and resolutions and everything else, which allows us to be able to do that. And as far as adopting the budget as well on an annual basis, when we had that language in. So that's where we landed with the final referendum costs. This presentation is linked to the board docs, so anyone who wants to go back and take a look at it. But as we closed out the final piece of the referendum, I just wanted to be transparent as far as where we landed. Questions from board members?
Thank you for the transparency.
All right. So transitioning, if you've been following along, The board had a work session about a week and a half ago. From there, we had our state aid figures, and tonight we are bringing forward a preliminary budget on the agenda. The preliminary budget is voted on by the board this evening. It's been submitted to the county superintendent by Friday. The county superintendent reviews it, and then there'll be a public hearing on the budget on April 27th, when the board will vote on the final budget for 26-27 school year. So what I'm going to do tonight is kind of walk you through just an overview. I'm not going to go through all the slides that we did as part of our work session. They are available on our agenda for the work session if anyone's interested. But what I am going to do is kind of just give you some high level of where we landed and what we are presenting this evening. So first, just a couple things I wanted to share. And this may be a little bit difficult. I was looking on there to see, but like I said, I'll read it out loud, and then obviously you have access to it on board docs. So one of the things that we were confronted with right out of the box, and we're not alone in this, is rising costs, particularly with healthcare, has been having a significant impact on school districts across the state. If you've been following online, reading any article, you will know that this has been a crisis over the last 2 months for school districts. There are some districts in the state of New Jersey that had up to a 35% renewal on their health benefits. For our district, we came in at 18%, which is still a heck of a lot higher than it was last year, which I think was about 11%. Along with that, in our contractual salary increases, right? We have all of our collective bargaining agreements that we've already had that we have to, obviously build in salaries for next year. We have heating and fuel. We all know what's going on right now with fuel. With prices, and our operational expenses created some significant challenge. The biggest challenge probably since I've been here in the district with budget. Maintaining a 2% cap levy at this point is just not feasible under these current conditions. If you've been following along, there's many districts that are facing difficult decisions, including substantial layoffs, program cuts, tax levy increases that are significantly higher than 2% for next school year. There are different districts out there that are cutting middle school programs, high school programs, athletics, all kinds of different things just to make ends meet with their budget. We've been working on this for months. The administration and the board, and I thank the board for their patience and all their hard work, have crafted a budget that maintained educational standards while keeping taxes as low as possible. We've worked diligently to develop a budget, going through line item by line item analysis, the finance committee doing that, the full board doing that, exploring every possible option that we could to contain costs while maintaining the quality of our program. So just to give you an idea, when we look at neighboring school districts right now in Hunterdon County, right? And I don't have their names down because nothing's been finalized, but as I've gathered data from my colleagues, you will see where people are landing as far as their proposed tax levy increase. And they're nowhere near 2%. All right. This is also, kind of a microcosm of the state. Just talking to some colleagues this morning from Mercer County, it looks like their average tax increase is going to be 5.83%. Talking to some colleagues in Camden County, it looks like they're going to be at least 5.7 to close to 6% as far as an average across the whole county. Due to all the things that I mentioned. Basically, we did the line item analysis, trying to find a reasonable balance between overall our student experience and our tax levy increase. But we are going to still remain one of the lowest in Hunterdon County when you see this list in a few slides of where we landed. We're trying to be working together with the board, streamlining expenditures while ensuring that we have the quality of the education that's so important to our kids, but it's been challenging. So this year, the board spending authority. So in other words, how much can the board raise the budget without going out for a vote? So you have the 2% tax levy increase, which is $418,684.85. Our health benefit adjustment. So what happens is the state of New Jersey, when health benefits are extremely high, and as we learned at our work session from Jim Finn, who did a presentation from Brown & Brown, who's our health benefits broker, this is the most volatile he's seen health benefits in 30 years of doing this work. So with that, we were able to, if the board decided to increase the budget by another $660,254 just because of the 18% increase that we had in health benefits. And then bank cap. So bank cap is simply unused spending authority that can be saved for 3 budget cycles. So what you're going to see on this is right now, without a vote, the board has the ability to raise the budget 7.5% or 1,575, 176.85 without a vote. So that is spending authority.
Just to ask for clarification, couple of us on board. Can you explain that a little bit? My understanding is that it's unused authority when we have to raise.
1 second. I'm sorry, can you just repeat that?
Yeah, no worries. So bank cap is a good concept. Clarifying that it's authority that we had and has to increase, but not necessarily unused cash that we have taken.
Correct. It's not cash. So just like I kind of went through with this slide, that the board right now has 1,575, 176 or 7.5%. We are not obviously proposing a 7.5% increase tonight. So whatever we propose minus the 7.5 is additional spending authority that the board would have for next year. So for right now, just to kind of give you numbers from the 2025-26 budget, the board had 99,038. Or I'm sorry, the board had 99,038 that will expire after this year's budget, right, from 3 budgets ago. Then we had 122,284 that will expire after next year's 26-27 budget, and then another 271,916 that will expire after the 27-28 budget. So that was all money that we didn't use. In theory, tonight, based on what we're proposing, some of that money we will lose, right? That money that's rolling off at the end of this year, that 99,000, we will lose that. Does that help?
Yes.
All right. So after a full budget review, the board is submitting a draft budget with an increase of 3.5%, among the lowest proposed increases in the county. Just a few things to highlight from the board. So in order to get the 3.5, we cut $900,000 out of our budget. All right, when we took the health benefit increase, salaries, operational costs, fuel costs, utility costs, and we rolled all of that into our budget to say, okay, where are we? We were well past 3.5%. All right, so we had to really do the best we can over the last 2 months to try to come down the lowest we could and still be able to preserve programs. And that meant cutting $900,000 out of our budget. So with that, it's 5 full-time employees, so a special education teacher, 3 general education teachers, 1 paraprofessional position. We are adding a new coordinator position for the new Pathways program, which we talked about at the high school, which will be an incredible experience for our kids starting next year. And then we do have, based on IEP needs, a required special education position at the elementary school that we have to fund. It maintains all of our mental health supports for students and staff, separate bus runs for our middle school and high school students. So this was an important thing when we did come up with our plan with the middle school and the high school, that we wouldn't have 5th and 6th graders on the bus with 10th and 11th graders, and that will maintain itself for next year. And that's for all students. We will continue to have late buses 4 days a week for our 5 through 12, over 65 extracurricular and co-curricular clubs and activities. We provide home internet to any families that have financial challenges and financial hardships, and then also professional development, which is so important for our staff and eventually for student achievement. If you look at our class sizes for next year, they're in line of what they've really been over the last several years. Kindergarten right now is TBD because we're still taking in registration. Well, you can see based on our class sizes where we're going to land in grades 1 through 8. And then you can see based on historic what we've been over the last 4 years as far as our class sizes. You could also see what the DOE recommends as far as class size, and we are under those numbers with this proposed budget. So for tax impact, basically what you're looking at here, and again, if it's difficult to see, you can obviously see it on board docs, but we're looking at the 3 different municipalities. You can see the difference on here with what our current budget is, what the 3.5% is, and then what the 7.5 would be if we went all, the board made the decision to use all their spending authorities. This is based on the average assessed values for each one of the municipalities, which you can see down at the bottom. So basically for Stockton, we're talking about a monthly increase of $14.31. For Lambertville, $15.54. And for West Amwell, $20.05. And then this is where we landed compared to all the other districts in Hunterdon County right now. So we're the green. You can see we're very close to the bottom, which is a good place to be. And you can see where all the other districts are right now, pretty much maxing out their full spending authority in order to avoid massive cuts. And I will tell you, all these districts are still cutting, even though they're raising their tax levy 4%, 4.5%, 5%. There's one district that's going all the way up to 10%, right? With their spending authority, they're still cutting just because they can't maintain program with the amount of deficit they have based on their health benefits. As I mentioned before, we're fortunate that we came in at 18%. There's some districts that came in at 30 and 35%, which has been catastrophic. And then just as a reminder, with the West Amwell School, we signed the contract with our new buyer on February 26th, 2026. We're currently in the due diligence period. So they're having done all their inspections. The property's been surveyed. There's been inspections already. We have septic inspections scheduled for next week on Monday and Tuesday. And the board, I just want to reiterate, is committed to taking the sale proceeds from the West Amwell School and providing relief to our taxpayers by paying down referendum debt from the 2021 referendum. Just to kind of show you where things land with the referendum debt, you can see this just illustrates that we were peaking over the last several years because we still had the old referendum debt from the West Amwell School, but we made our last payment in February of this year. So now we've plateaued at the highest, we're coming down, and now as of July of 26, there'll be a decrease because that old referendum is now off the books. So based on our projections, right, and these were based on the assessed values back in 2022 when we sold the bonds for the referendum, you can see in each one of our municipalities what that type of relief will look like come July of this year. So that's a good thing. So just in conclusion, the board is submitting a draft budget with a tax levy increase of 3.5%. The budget increase will be amongst one of the lowest in Hunterdon County. The additions of district-wide initiatives, the maintenance of our current programs, and the commitment to our small class sizes ensure students, have an excellent experience and a quality education. And the reduction of district-held debt will help slightly offset the increase of the long term. So we are fortunate this year that we have the debt that's rolling off, and obviously with some of the challenges that we faced with our operating budget for 2026-27, specifically with the incredible healthcare cost increases, which I think not only in education, but in all industries, everyone's facing right now.
So I know we have all been in this, and for those of you in the public, this has been a process for our board as well. We put a lot of effort into really going line by line. There's been a lot of effort by both our finance committee and individual board members in getting there. But I want to leave it open. Do you guys have any questions before we move on with this? Okay. That brings us to our first period of public comment. Thank you, Mr. Souza. So just a reminder, if you would like to make a public comment, you are welcome to. We have a 3-minute limit. If you could just introduce yourself, name and municipality, we'd very much appreciate your comments. Anyone?
Hello, I'm Taylor LeBeau. I'm a teacher at the elementary school. Family Literacy Night will be held on Wednesday, March 25th from 5:30 to 8 o'clock. This year's theme is Reading Rocks.
This is an exciting community event that the South Hunterdon Regional Education Association has been hosting for over 10 years. It is funded by the NJA Public Education Partnership Grant. Families are invited to come watch as their child participates in activities such as rock painting, karaoke, bracelet making, Wordle, bingo for books, and more. After students participate in the activities, they can return to the book tables where they can choose free books to bring home with them. At 7 o'clock, there will be an author visit by author and illustrator Jay Cooper. He is known for many books, including The Last Kids on Earth, Bots, and Sticks and Scones, sorry. We are thankful to have a community of readers and for this opportunity to share literacy skills both at school and at home. And we look forward to seeing you there.
LeBeau? Out in the gallery.
Hello, Andrea Little from West Amwell Township. I wanted to say thank you very much for sharing the referendum balance sheet today for our entire community to see what all these years, what was put forth and the completion. So that was really appreciated. I did have a chance to look it through and it was really great to see and then you have the budget that you're now proposing. So they were kind of side by side. One thing I like to do is pull things together. And when we did the referendum, the two purposes were academia as well as financial. We know there's a lot of strive toward academia. It's good to see that, we're not having a lot of cuts. Maybe there were retirements, whatever it is, for the 5 positions. But what I'd like to understand more, and I think the community would like to understand, and maybe you could share this in April when you do your budget, is what's the tie-in? What were the savings and reductions of what we thought we were going to get from the referendum, and how is that applying to the go forward? So things like, savings and administration by putting the synergy of the 2 schools next to each other, minimizing the West Amwell school, classroom synergies, meaning pulling grades together in the elementary schools. What kind of savings has there been there? Operational costs, having 2 buildings on 1 property. Where are all those savings going? And I know operation costs and fuel, we go through this ebbs and flows every single, every couple of years, but where are those synergies and how are we seeing those as a reduction? Because the fact is costs are rising. We have lower enrollment and our operational expenses per student just continue to be a big obstacle for our district. So what's the long-term game plan here? And maybe right now you're only doing a budget for next year and that's what you're adopting. But I think if we can just tie the 2 presentations together to say, okay, this referendum is done. How do we now utilize this in our budget? We got 5% from the state, I think, things like that. We know that there's health costs, but how are we going to handle this as our population is showing and continues to go down in our district? And what's our long-term game plan on how we're going to manage that? Thank you very much again. Appreciate it.
Ms. Little. Anyone else? Okay, I know we did have an online.
Yep, we have one online. Mike Spiel from West Amwell. Tonight, the superintendent published the 2021 final referendum cost analysis, which closely mirrored my own document submitted to the BOE this year. In it, the superintendent admits to exceeding the voter-approved referendum budget by millions of dollars, illegally using, I didn't use the word illegally, using the NJR interest for part of the overage, and then spending almost another $500,000 from capital reserve to cover the balance. Also illegal. Please thank Mr. Suzo for putting his and the board's financial malfeasance in writing for the state DOE to review.
Thank you for presenting that, Mr. Suzo. Yep. And that let us close this period of public comment. So, moving on to committee reports, curriculum technology is up first, Ms. Fischetti.
Thank you. The Curriculum Technology Committee met on March 11th at 6 p.m. There were no items for board approval on that agenda. So the the entire agenda was based on off of discussion items. The first of those was the committee discussed developing committee goals for the upcoming year. There are some preliminary concepts that were suggested that included updating, a schedule for updating curriculum and supporting and developing curriculum for the new Pathways program at the high school. The committee members decided to come to the April meeting with additional ideas for discussion and formalization. Mrs. Lennon talked about the winter benchmark data, and there was an in-depth discussion surrounding the various benchmark tests that are given, the purpose and type of the information that is gained from those tests. And there was a request for some additional information regarding the different kinds of testing and how the programs are used by teachers in the district. There was discussion about the March 6th in-service day. The teachers had an in-service day on March 6th that focused on the Character Strong program, which will be implemented in the fall of 26. It's was a training for grades K through 8. And then also there was a discussion of the use of AI in the high school predominantly, but really district-wide. Tony and Jane Ellen have been taking classes on AI's use in the classroom, and they also been working on an AI policy for our district. This includes the use of AI in instruction and also assessment, as well as AI literacy training, essentials for teachers. Tony advised that he's created an AI policy committee in the district that's made up of teachers and administrators, which have already met. They've had robust conversations with a number of varied perspectives on what the appropriate use of AI is in school. There are ethical concerns, online safety concerns, effectiveness of AI in a learning environment, as well as the maintenance of academic integrity. These are all matters of concern. Also, just from the district's perspective, there's a desire to maintain a focus on individual critical and analytical thinking, as well as the ability of students to learn from one another and develop interpersonal skills. All of these things will increase in importance as AI becomes more and more prevalent throughout our world. That's an ongoing conversation, obviously. There was a really interesting and inspiring discussion of the community classroom, how there have been connections to the Wit and Wisdom curriculum in the first grade. The first grade teachers have been using the Community Classroom Initiative to enhance the Wit and Wisdom curriculum by welcoming a number of parents and members of the community into their classrooms to demonstrate jobs and pursuits that are related to books and concepts that are being taught in classes. The committee discussed expanding this model to other things. There was some old business on the agenda, but alas, we ran out of time, and so it'll be carried over to next month.
Alas, robust discussion.
Yes.
Having been there, definitely agree with the robust discussion. Thank you. Next up, personnel.
Personnel. So the Personnel Committee met via Zoom on March 18th. We discussed specific things, recommendation from the superintendent to approve this evening, including several appointments, a resignation and a retirement, a couple of leaves of absence, approval for 2 substitute teachers, and appointments of extracurricular appointments. So with that, I move items A and B.
We have a second, I know.
And motion of A and B, yes.
Okay,
Okay, discussion.
I just noted the, one of our, is that the CSO, one of our?
Campus safety officer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But we have a.
He's back now. He was
Oh,
out.
it was-
He was out.
oh.
We were rotating him,
Oh,
over the 3 buildings.
okay.
But he returned last week. Yeah. One thing I wanted to mention too, I'll just point it out. You'll notice on the agenda, our ag teacher, Matt Monaco, will be leaving us at the end of the year, which is unfortunate. But I'm very excited to say we found a replacement because that is one of the most impossible positions to fill. So the fact that we found someone, Stephanie Grubb, who I'm really, really excited about, and we're approving that person now for next year is huge. Because I was very, very concerned that we were gonna have trouble finding a candidate. So Matt was phenomenal. We wish him well. But the fact that we've locked that in March and it's not something we have to worry about for the next 4 months, I'm very happy. There we go.
John Bonani,
Yeah.
Martha Dennis, Paul Signo, Linda Pacetti, Brian Keyes, Aaron O'Leary, Jennifer Batchelor, Tony Todd Marino,
Yes.
and Michael Stroud.
Yeah. The policy committee.
Policy Committee did not meet in March, to the great disappointment of all committee members. We did not have any items for first read. There were no mandatory changes or recommended changes from our third-party provider. So we had the items for second read, which we reviewed at our last committee meeting. All of these are mandated changes and they don't create any significant change to the text, so I will not re-review those. There were no comments from the board members on any of these changes. You do have an item B. I see the request to abolish the existing policies and regulation on sexual harassment. Those are being replaced by new policy and regulation sections, and we did go through those at a previous meeting. So this is just eliminating those policy and regulation sections that are now superfluous. So with that, I would like to move items A and B.
Second. Okay, discussion. Great, let's vote.
Paul Fonsigno,
Yes.
Gina Bichetti,
Yes.
Brian Keyes,
Yes.
Aaron O'Leary, Jennifer Batchelor,
Yes.
John Bonani, Martha Dennis, Tony Todd Marino,
Yes.
and Michael Stroud.
Yes. Okay, buildings, grounds, transportation, finance, and safety.
So we met on March 17th. A large portion of our discussion revolved around the budget update. So we had just to note, presentation that we looked at today, before putting that together, we had quite a long working session and a lot of discussion occurred that evening, and that was then followed up in Finance Committee. So there was quite a bit of good discussion and sharing of thoughts and ideas that went into the what we're going to send to the county this week. We were able to really kind of dive into the reasoning behind certain suggestions of leaving in, taking out, what can we do? So I can just say that we've all put in a lot of time and effort and discussion on that. We also talked about the turf. Work has restarted. We've got about 4 weeks of work left. The main issue is that the ground needs to be dry. The weather is just working against us on that front, unfortunately. But the ground does need to be dry in order to set the base for that. We're having a similar sort of time with the softball dugouts as well. We need the ground to just dry out so that we can bring in the appropriate equipment to get that started. We talked about closing out the referendum. The bills list includes the negotiated payment to LBJ Flooring to make that final payment for the terms that we agreed to last month. We talked a little bit about the sale of West Amwell. The window of due diligence is open until April 9th. The buyer does have an option to extend, but they would have to give us additional deposit money. In this 30 days, inspections are being scheduled. And as those happen and move along, if all goes well, we would have a tentative closing date of June 11th. That still stands. But real estate transactions are what they are. And then in our transportation update, we talked about biannual inspections that happened, in which we found some inconsistency with paperwork and logs. And as part of a corrective action plan, more random periodic reviews of logs and the paperwork on the buses will be performed by our administrator. So what we talked about, and then we have our normal list of items for the month. The bills list, our financial reports and all of that. And then of note is the item J, which we talked about in superintendent update, is our preliminary budget for the year. We also have a resolution to approve our preschool expansion aid. And that was another note that also was addressed at our working session, just to highlight that we did receive, we made out pretty well with the state aid, which was a big help to our budget. We have some winning bids from our continuing work with municipal and items that we're disposing of. And that'll bring us to items A through K to move.
There a second. Discussion. Okay, let's take a vote.
Brian Heath,
Yes.
Aaron O'Leary, Jennifer Bachelor, John Bonani, Martha Dennis, Paul Fontegno, Lisa Bichetti, Bonnie Calmarino,
Yes.
and Michael Trout.
Yes. Okay, Ms. Todd Marino is joining by Zoom, so I believe
Yeah,
that.
I'll do the update for school and community. So a couple things we talked about. We worked on a 1 to 2 page document in reference to the budget, and something that we could share with the community, just for them to have a better understanding about what's included in the budget, obviously our rising healthcare costs and the impact on the budget. Something else we talked about is, by now, hopefully everyone's aware of the new internet-enabled device law that will be going into place in September. So I have put together a district committee of parents to discuss implementation of this new law. We met one time in February. We're meeting again on Thursday night this week. I also did a focus group of students grades 9 to 11. So as a little bit of a homework assignment, I told the students they would be meeting with me in about 4 or 5 days, and I gave them the law. And I said, I need you to read this on your own. It's only 4 pages, and then be prepared to discuss it when we meet. So we did meet. The beginning of the meeting, first thing they said is they are not in favor of the law, and how do we change it? And I said, well, that's not really an option right now. So now we have to think about how we're going to implement the law. So we did talk a lot about a bunch of different ideas. One of the things that we did talk about, which took some working towards, but we got in a better place by the end of the meeting, was collecting the devices and then redistributing them at the end of the school day to help put them in a good situation. We had a good conversation about how do we set them up for success. And in the beginning of that conversation, they said, we'll just keep it away and let us hold on to them. And then as we talked about it more and more, they started to discover that that may be harder than they thought. So maybe it would be something that we should think about as far as collecting them on a daily basis. One of the biggest things they were most concerned about was losing their music. So they like to listen to music during lunch, things along those lines, and not having the device. So we had all kinds of good discussions about that. And they were going on Amazon and finding, iPods, MP3 players, all kinds of things from back in the day, which I didn't even know you could still buy. But we're going to continue to have conversations about that until we eventually bring a policy forward to the board by later in the school year. We also talked about a survey that we'll be administering, partnering with Montclair University and the Department of Health, specifically for 7th and 8th graders on substance abuse as well as mental health. So the plan will be to survey 7th and 8th graders sometime before the end of the year, probably later in May. It will be during a health lesson. Parents will receive information about this. There will be an opt-out for any parents who don't want their child to take it. There'll also be the opportunity for parents to view the questions in advance. If they want to see the questions, we're just working on locking in a date in May for the actual survey to be administered. The nice thing about the survey is a lot of times when we get approached about surveys, it's more global data that we don't necessarily get access to and how it impacts us as a school. This data we will get, a summary of a profile for us, which will be extremely beneficial for our program planning in the future. We did talk about upcoming press releases. So we're in the process of working on press releases for community classroom program, the Pathways program that will go into effect next year at the high school, as well as the implementation of Character Strong. And then just for an open discussion item, we did discuss, for those that may not be aware, I held a parent meeting in the beginning of March for a group of seventh grade parents, where students specifically were having conflict that was, a majority of it was coming from social media. So we had an opportunity to meet, and we had a great turnout. I had about 17 parents who came and met for about 2 hours. We talked about some of the challenges that we're facing, and we agreed to develop a digital reset with our students. What that meant is that I actually created a contract, and I had the parents buy in along with our kids, which I will tell you, some of them were not happy, but you know, so far so good, where they were willing to give up, i.e. Snapchat, TikTok, for a period of about 5 to 6 weeks. All right, just to see the impact it would have, and that the world would still move on and we could all survive without it. We are meeting again on April 9th, the parents, when we come back from break, just to do a little post analysis of how things are going and how they went. I know that there's been some challenges along the way with students kind of, you know, falling off the wagon to say, and trying to get access to those social media apps. But overall, I think I will tell you, some of the challenges that we've seen in the school have absolutely minimized since we had that meeting. So it's something that we're continuing to work towards. It builds into the whole internet-enabled device policy, and kind of, again, you know, really trying to focus on what's best for our kids. Our elementary parents hopefully got the wait to 8 that I had sent out. We're really trying to encourage starting in preschool for parents to wait till 8th grade for the cell phones, for a whole heck of a lot of reasons, and I probably don't need to tell you any of them, know what they are. So those will be continued discussions moving forward. And nothing to move for school and community.
Okay, thank you. We do have 2 accept and routine information items, so get a motion to accept items A, B, and C.
There is HIP. Oh, no, there is. No, we didn't have it.
Oh,
Have it.
okay. Oh, well, wonderful.
Yeah.
Then we can move on to our second period of public comment. Same rules apply, and again, your comments are welcome.
Yes. As a member of the public. No? I
never had it happen before.
Well, I thought about it. That has happened.
Not from the diet, no.
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 Do you have something to share? I don't think you have to.
I mean, if you can introduce yourself as a member of the public and what your address.
That's what I'm, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I just wanted to, Paul Felsigno from West Amwell, as a member of the public, I wanted to say something about the phones. The PTO had a great outing at the dance, the middle school dance on Saturday. And I talked to a number of students, and they had a great time. And some have said that it was unprovoked from an adult, said that it was because of the lack of the presence of phones. So I want to thank the leadership, thank the PTO for pulling off something that the kids enjoyed, and juxtaposed from last year was a great success. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anything online?
There is none.
Okay. Final call for the gallery. Okay, still, and this period of public comment, we do have the need for executive session tonight. We do not anticipate taking any action post. So for those of you who are hanging out, thank you for doing so. And can I get a motion to enter executive session? Okay, John.
Second.
Brian. All in favor?
Aye.
Wonderful.
Thanks, Ron.